Welcome to Fractions Booklet 10, Multiplying and Dividing Fractions. First, we're going to talk about multiplying fractions. So my first problem is 2/3 times 1/4. So the first thing I need to do is, what I can do basically with multiplying and dividing fractions, there's no common denominators anymore. That's the biggest mistake I see, is that people try to get common denominators for multiplying and dividing fractions, and you don't need to do it. All you have to do is reduce any numerator with any denominator. They can be parts of the same fraction or diagonal from each other's parts of different fractions. And I'm going to show you how that works. So for 2/3 times 1/4, I look at 1 and 3. The common factor for there is 1, so I cannot simplify 1 and 3. But 2 and 4, I can reduce. I can definitely reduce from those two. They have a common factor. The common factor between 2 and 4 is 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slash through 2 and 4 here. And then basically, how many times does 2 go into 2? 1 time. And how many times does 2 go into 4? Twice. So now that we've reduced all the possibilities, multiply the numerators together to create the new numerator. Multiply the denominators together to create the new denominator. And there should be no reducing afterwards, but just check just in case you missed something. So looking at it, my new numerator is going to be 1 times 1. And my new denominator is going to be 3 times 2. Because what we're going to do is multiply those numbers that we have now, because we've simplified. So 1 times 1 will give me 1. 3 times 2 will give me 6. So 2/3 times 1/4 is equal to 1/6. Moving on down, let's talk about dividing fractions. Now, with dividing fractions is actually a very similar process. It's the exact same as multiplication, with adding one step at the very beginning. What you need to remember is KCF. So with 2/3 divided by 1/4, K is to keep the first fraction the same. You don't change anything about it. So in this case, 2/3 divided by 1/4, I keep it as 2/3. That's easy. C stands for change. The division sign will change into a multiplication sign. So instead of a division sign, I now have multiplication. F stands for flip. The second fraction, the one after the division sign, not the one before, the one after the division sign, the denominator becomes the numerator, and vice versa. So basically flip 1/4. So if I basically found the reciprocal of 1/4, that would just be 4/1. And now all I have here is regular multiplication of fractions like you learned above. So now 2/3 times 4/1. I cannot simplify 2 and 1. I cannot simplify 4 and 3. The fractions are already in simplest form. So I just multiply across. So I'm going to get 2 times 4, which makes 8, and 3 times 1, which makes 3. So I get 8/3. Now remember, you always want to leave answers in simplest terms. So that means reduced and not as improper fractions. I don't want 8/3 as my answer. You know how to convert between an improper fraction to a mixed number. We talked about that earlier. So 8/3, 3 goes into 8 2 times with a remainder of 2. So your final answer is going to be 2 and 2/3.